Welcome to Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John.
And I'm Richard.
How's it going, Richard? Hey, everybody. What is going on? Hey, just a reminder, if you're not following us at Bronze and Modern Gods on Facebook and Instagram, you're missing out. We just had a live sale last weekend. It was fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Richard, did you have a good time on Saturday?
Oh, I always have a good time. Somebody made a joke that had me laughing for 5 minutes straight.
I don't know if we can repeat the joke, but
I think it's better not to.
maybe it's best we don't repeat it. Well, you know what we do. It's a day late. We apologize for that, but we do have the 25-year rule, our underrated books of the week. We also have viewer mail and our hot book of the week. But first, this week's episode is brought to you by Mint NFT. That is nearmintnft.com, your one-stop shop for comic book art from your favorite artists. Head over to nearmintnft.com now to sign up for the whitelist for the Near Mint NFT badge. It will be packed with perks like early access to drops, discounts to some of your favorite online retailers, and a lot more to come. Getting added to this list is quick and painless and free, my 3 favorite things. So head over to nearmintnft.com for more. And now, without any further ado, it is our hot book of the week. Richard, what is it?
Our hot book of the week is Avengers Forever, number 6 from 2022.
What? You mean like from last week?
From last week. This book is really has some heat behind it. It's selling for $9 to $15 on eBay. It's the first appearance of Vibranium Man.
Catchy name. Good name.
Yes, it is. It is a multiversal character. Of course, is T'Challa, who I don't understand.
You got to read it, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. You read it, and it starts off kind of like Superman, and then it just morphs. This one does. I don't understand. I understand people see the cover, they see the name, and they think, "Oh, cool! This is going to be a new character that's going to, it's going to be something that's persistent." I don't see this as persistent. I see this as a character for the particular storyline, and I don't see the character lasting beyond that.
What do we think about this in general? Books from the last week or month selling for multiples over cover instantly. I kind of get the sense that these days are numbered.
Yeah, I stay away from them. I used to be the guy who grabbed the comics as they came out. I remember the old Venom days when Venom 25 and 26 and
or 5 Dark Winter or whatever his name is.
Right. We bought those. We all bought those at the time. But I think what the market has proven is that these characters are in these modern books are temporarily hot. If you're good at flipping, you buy it at retail, and then you can flip it on eBay for 2x, 3x what you pay, and you could do that in volume. Good for you. But if you're looking to make a long-term play, or you're buying some of these ratio books thinking you're going to sit on them for a while and make some money, the odds are has been proven that that's not necessarily the case.
And I'm kind of going in another direction too, where I'm focusing on my Silver Age and my Bronze Age keys now. I see books like the first Kamala Khan, things like that. They're dropping fast.
Yeah, I think there are some exceptions to the rule for moderns. There are books that hold value and will always hold value. I think of like Legion of Superheroes 23, that gorgeous Adam Hughes variant cover. That's just timeless. But a lot of time, Marvel especially seems to be pumping and dumping books. They drop a book with a lot of variant covers, with a lot of store variant covers, and then the store variant covers have a trade dress and a virgin variant, and you can only get to virgin if you buy it with the trade. They are really milking the audience for these books, and I just don't see it being something that is going to. You look back in 2023 and say, this book, this Vibranium Man book, for example, was a good buy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, with that piece of good speculator news, let's move on to viewer mail.
You've got
Richard,
mail.
what do you have?
My first piece of viewer mail is from Commotion. He wrote, also, we're talking about CGC and their horrible change in their rules about what they're putting on labels. If you haven't heard this, tune into our last show. we go into it in detail. But also with CGC's online grading notes that we'll have to pay for, how detailed are they going to be anyway? Will they still not list the flaws of a 5.5 or lesser book, for example? Will things like detached centerfold just go without saying, as this is acceptable in lower grades? And then he'd make a good reporter because he followed up with CGC and
I like that he followed up his own question.
yeah, it was awesome. Got this comment from CGC yesterday. Centerfolds detached below 5.5 will no longer be listed on the label.
Can you have a book higher than 5.5 with a centerfold detached?
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
I would hope not, but okay.
And detached covers will no longer be listed on the label.
Well,
that is
that's kind of nutty because I just sold a book during the live sale last week that had a completely split cover, which if I sent it in and I had no ethics, could I? That's awful.
It is awful, but you would still. I'm assuming, like I had Amazing Spider-Man #5, Spider-Man and Doom. I sent it in. It had a detached cover. It got a 1.5 as a grade.
Yeah,
but it says on the label detached cover. It just won't say that anymore. If I send it in, it would still get the 1.5. It just would not be clear as to the reason why it got the grade, which to me
is this for? Who is this for? I think it's really obvious who this is for, and it's really sad.
Oh yeah, who's that?
It's for high-profile dealers or auction houses that count on people to be under the gun when a timer is running and they don't have time to look up notes and they want to sell a book and they don't want any pesky notes in the way.
I don't see how CGC benefits from this. I don't see how they make, other than, and you had a point, I'll let you go into that. To me, it's just antithetical. It goes against giving the best value to your customer.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, who is this? Who is benefiting from this? But CGC already doesn't give me graders notes for a 9.0. I got books back last week, and 2 of them were 9.2s and a 9.0, 0 graders notes. What am I paying for, guys?
Right.
Tying into my next comment from Up a Grade Pressing, great name. It seems like the info in graders notes is becoming less and less. Exactly. People getting 8.0 grades with no graders notes. If CGC's excuse of wanting to clean up the labels is valid, why not shift the info to the back of the label? I think this is a major mistake on CGC's part and continues to prove that CGC does not care about the community that it is servicing. Hard to argue with that.
I know it's concise as to what the problem is. Yeah.
We want to clean up the label. Prominent members, quote unquote, of the community have told us they want to clean up the label. No, they want to hide defects.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I'm going to use an S word here. Beep. It's really beepy of them. I don't like it.
No, and I wonder if the CGC acquisition would make this decision. In other words, is this something that the new controllers of CGC have put down as an edict because they want to raise additional revenue?
Well, whenever we talk about stuff like this, we have 1 or 2 comments for sure of people saying things like, if you guys feel so strongly about this, why do you keep using CGC? Just stop and vote with your wallet. Guess what? I'm done. I'm not doing any more books. I have 3 more shipments that are there now. And once those come back, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, unless it's something for the PC that is special. Like I graded that Miracle Man #1, the gold.
Sure.
I'll do that because I think that's important to do. But just general books, even sale books, I don't think I could put up with it anymore.
I'm not saying this as a flex, honestly, but They are missing out from me alone, literally thousands of dollars a year in revenue because I'm not sending anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys put the challenge to me, vote with my wallet. I'm doing it. I'm done.
So CBCS, you're going to submit to CBCS?
No, I'm selling raw. At least if I sell something raw, like I did this weekend, I had that Spellbound #3 that had a completely split cover. I can be honest with the buyer and say it's a completely split cover. The insides are complete. It has all 32 pages. Everything else is great. And I got, I think, a good price for it. Whereas if I had sent that in and slabbed it, it probably would have come back 0.5 or a 1.0 with no notes. And it look in a Mylar or in a CGC case, it looks like the cover is still attached. And I would just have to sit there and keep my mouth shut and not say anything. And that's really crappy. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to sell books raw now. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to see if this is going to, I watch a lot of YouTube shows. And I am wondering, like Mint Hunter was talking about it earlier this week. He's done too.
Yeah. It's awful. It's unethical at this point. That's my problem. It's really unethical.
Yeah.
The cleaning up the label BS is exactly that. And anybody who is in this industry knows it's BS. And I'm no dummy. Mama didn't raise no fool. Right. I'm not doing it. What's your next piece of viewer mail?
Next, I have mail from Charlie Dog.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Hey guys, congratulations on hitting 4,000 subscribers. Yes, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Good discussion about the latest hot topic in the hobby. Might I suggest that this is CGC raising prices by stealth. The cost stays the same, but you get less for it, therefore an increase on their part. Definitely an opportunity for CBCS to take a chunk of CGC's customers. The whole X series, Earth X, Universe X, Paradise X, is a fantastic story with great art. Very recommended. That was another point that John recommended a book from.
Agreed.
But yeah, CBCS put out a couple of posts capitalizing on what CGC did. Hopefully they have an opportunity now to really come out. It's in race car driving, and you get behind another car, and you can pull out ahead because you're drafting behind that car.
They're not going to draft. They're going to drive right into a wall. That CBCS is the Keystone Cops, man. I'm sorry. I mean, they won't change the label despite everyone hating almost everyone hating the label. Their backlog is just as bad, maybe worse now than CGC's in terms of turnaround times. It's going to take a miracle at this point.
You stepped on my analogy, John.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I guess I'm hopeful. I definitely see it being hard for them to change. Nobody likes the labels. I can't say nobody. The majority of people that I talk to.
Steve Borak likes the label.
Yeah, well, he's kind of biased.
Well, he's gone now. So the one guy in the way is.
And what gets me is it's not hard to make the label different. It's not like they have to go and get new plates printed or made to be able to do it. It's a printed on a color laser printer. You could be as creative and as fancy as you want to be, charge an extra fee for it, and it'll cost you pennies on, to be able to do it. To me, it's nonsensical why neither one of these companies can do the stuff, do these labels like Halo. Halo had some really creative, different designs for labels. Why aren't they taking advantage of that opportunity?
I think CBCS, when it first started, it wanted to skirt that line where it looked just enough like a CGC label that people felt comfortable, but it wasn't infringing on any intellectual property. They've established themselves now. They're number 2. They're Avis. They're going to try it. Was it Avis number 2 would try harder?
Right.
We know you're Avis, so you can change your label now. Get creative. No one cried when CGC struck licensing deals and put Miles Morales custom labels out there. You guys can do the same thing. Yeah. Why not? I'm sure they can come up with all sorts of logistical hurdles, but hurdles are there to be overcome, not to be accepted. Sorry. All right, my next piece of your mail. Gee, same topic. Hyde Trot writes, great show, fellas. Big fan. Thank you. As someone who got into comics recently, like January of this year, I feel as my perspective may be a bit more unbiased than those who have grown up in the community for years. My first impressions of comic slabs were great looking label by CGC, aesthetically pleasing to look at with great info. Part of slabbing to me is having something I like looking at. However, CBCS, the label side, gave me a much better impression. What? Better quality slabs, sturdier, the book seemed better sealed into the slab, QR code for graders' notes, etc. Of course, CGC commands a better value on the market, but that aside, if CBCS changed their label, I think it looks like something someone in 1982 wrote up in a typewriter. LOL. They could make strides in their standing and appeal. Hi, Trot. I agree with you 1,000%. We've been screaming about this label since before you got back into collecting in January this year. But you're right. You have a new perspective. You're coming in with fresh eyes, and you said the same thing. So, CBCS, we beseech thee, hire more graders and change your label. All right, Richard.
Hire a graphic designer to help.
Here's the thing. Fans have done spec labels for them.
Yes, they have. It's so gorgeous.
Pay a fan a couple $100 for the rights, and it's almost like they don't want to do it because they're going to admit they're wrong about something. Yeah. Richard, what's your next piece of your mail?
Yeah, enough with that horse.
I know.
My next piece of your
it is fine liquidy glue now, that horse.
My piece of viewer mail is from Panels of Joy. Hi, guys. Wondering your thoughts on the huge success of Marvel's Deadpool Samurai manga and what it means for Marvel going into the future. Do you think we'll see more publishers joining in, seeing as manga is getting so huge in the US and UK right now? I have to admit, I had not heard of Deadpool Samurai. John, have you?
Nope. But I will say that's because we're old farts.
We are old farts.
I think from just looking around and walking around at comic shows in the last 5 to 10 years, manga far outstrips anything US publishers do. We live in this bubble where Marvel and DC is our world, and then the rest of the world outside looks at us with our puny 100,000 copy print runs and goes, manga is the future. Manga is mainstream. Manga is the dominant comic force, whether you want to admit it or not. If you don't want to admit it, you're an ostrich with your head in the sand.
And it's in black and white.
Yeah.
For the most part. I actually went out and because I was interested, I found the Deadpool Samurai manga. It's an anthology. It's interesting. It really is. It's the Deadpool fourth wall breaking kind of character, and the Avengers, and it's really, really good. I think it's good. And frankly, whether or not it will see, we get other publishers or more Marvel titles. I think if this book sells well, we'll see Marvel doing other books to go along with it. Marvel does not mind turning a profit.
They tried before. Early 2000s, you had Spider-Man manga. You had the Marvel Mangaverse by Ben Dunn. They have tried this. What I think the failing is, and I to be fair, I have not looked at Deadpool Samurai, so I don't want to lump that in. But traditionally, they try to shoehorn their characters and their aesthetic into a manga context. They need to come up with something completely new and different that has nothing to do with the Marvel universe. Which, if you're Marvel, why are you going to bother doing that? You're there to be a custodian for the intellectual property that exists. So if someone came up with a great manga that was in the style of, the magical girls manga, like Magic Knights Rayearth or Sailor Moon or something, why would they take it to Marvel?
That's a good point. Why do you, if you have original IP, Marvel's the last place you want to take it.
Right, right.
You're going to develop it yourself.
So panels of joy. The short answer is I'm sure they will keep experimenting like they have for the last 20 years. Will any of it stick? I mean, look at Akira. When that was coming out, Richard and I were buying it when it came out, but it was one of the lowest sellers at both the shops I managed. And now that's why the last year or so is so expensive, because it was so low ordered, and it's probably the greatest manga of all time. And it couldn't get a foothold in America until years later. So, we're traditionally behind the curve when it comes to this stuff. My next piece of viewer mail is from the Daily Damien, who is writing about Jay Lee, who was in the 25-year rule last week. I remember Jay Lee. Liked his style back in the 90s, admired how fast he supposedly illustrated, but always wondered what happened to him. He's still around. Looking at his official website and gallery, he's really refined his style. Love his work now. Yes, he is one of those artists like Bill Sienkiewicz, where, he started off one way, a little rough, little stylistic, and then just really grew and grew and grew and matured. And I really, his style is so good now that I think that prevents him from doing a regular title. I think, it's so time consuming probably that you can't meet a monthly deadline for sure if you're Jay Lee drawing in that style. He was at La Mole and we saw him drawing commissions in real time, and it was just beautiful brushwork and feathering with India ink. I mean, it was gorgeous. So yes, love Jay Lee's stuff. All right, what's your next piece of viewer mail?
My final piece of viewer mail is from Comic Padre. Marvel and DC's abuse of number ones has to be a devaluing of number ones from the Bronze Silver Age. I totally agree. Marvel is notorious for having books that will be in their 400 or 500s. They want a new number one because number ones sell well. They will have a legacy number of still the old number, and they'll come out with the next book being number one. And then they run number one through number 20 or whatever, and then they decide to do it again. Spider-Man is a great example of that. That book has restarted its numbering schemes so many times, it's difficult to know. If I say I have a Spider-Man number 4, I have to quantify it by saying what year number 4, because there's just so many examples of it out there.
Okay, so you and Comic Padre are saying the constant rebooting is devaluing the bronze and silver number ones. That's what you're agreeing with.
Yeah.
Richard, you ignorant slut. I think it's quite the opposite. I think the constant rebooting is making the original number ones more desirable. What do people want? Do they want Spider-Man number 1 from 1963? Or do they want Spider-Man number 1, the John Byrne, Howard Mackie reboot from 1999? I think the answer is clear. I don't think anybody cares about the last 4 Spider-Man number 1s, but they sure care about Spider-Man number 1 from 1963, right?
They do. But if you say you have an ASM, number 1,
mm-hmm.
And you're put it up on Facebook or whatever, the buyer, that is not enough information for the buyer to know.
Yeah, but the viewer wrote, the constant reboots are devaluing bronze and silver age number 1s.
I think it's making it difficult to identify the bronze and silver books. I cannot say I have let's pick anything. I have a Fantastic Four number 5. Okay, mm-hmm. That's great. Well, there are 6 different runs of Fantastic Four that have a number 5, and it's difficult to be able to pick out without specifying what particular book that you have. And I think that
what Fantastic Four number 5 looks like. You own it.
I do. I'm not talking about me necessarily. because I've trained myself. When somebody
You're not
says,
going to sell a book without showing the cover.
okay, I have had people offer me, or I've seen listings for a run of books on eBay or let's say Facebook.
Yeah.
I get excited because they offer a run of books, low numbered X-Men, for example. Go out and find out that it's not low numbered X-Men from the 60s and 70s. It's low numbered X-Men from the 90s.
I get that. All right. I will disagree with the statement that it's devaluing bronze and silver number ones. For a completist that, is new to the hobby and they're buying whatever Spider-Man is on issue 2 now. I think they just rebooted it again. They've got issue 1 and 2. They're done. They don't want to go back and buy issues 1 through 400 and whatever it was before, they rebooted it the first time. They definitely do not want to buy issue 1 through 100 of the 1999 to early 2000s reboot. They have zero interest in that except for the keys. Not only that, but then you have things like Gwen Stacy's kids and crap, who cares? But yeah, okay.
Maybe devaluing. I could see maybe a bit broad, but it definitely is diluting the understanding of what I have a ASM number 4 or ASM number 5. It dilutes the understanding of what that book is, because there's so many different number 4s, and without further clarification, you don't know what you're looking at. And I don't see Marvel changing this. Marvel is going to, as long as people go out and buy number 1s, Marvel is going to continue to reboot it. So if you think 10 years from now, then there'll be another 10 number 1s, because they do this annually.
Yeah.
It just gets to be ludicrous.
It's kind of like CGC. Vote with your wallet. Stop buying them, people, and they'll stop making them number 1s. I'll let you cancel the book. My last piece of viewer mail is my favorite piece of viewer mail from this year so far, when we were talking about Blue Devil, the DC character, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I think. We have an email from Gary Cohn, the co-creator and writer of Blue Devil, along with Dan Mishkin. Gary writes, "Hey guys, Blue Devil. The movie was going to be a hard R, so the suit was anatomically correct." This is in response to my recapping the origin, where they were filming a movie. He was in a Blue Devil suit, and he was demonically fused to the suit, and I wondered how he pooped and peed. Now we have an answer. The suit was anatomically correct. When Dan Cassidy gets bonded to the suit magically, it's not that he's stuck in it. Like Swamp Thing, he is the suit. It's merged with him and everything functions. Everything? Remember, the suit sweats, right? And of course, he endowed a Blue Devil with equipment in proportion to his 7-foot height. Hello. He is quite impressive naked. Not like the naked Blue Devil in Swamp Thing, who's anatomically a Ken doll. It's part of why he's so popular with the ladies. Not just the ladies, Gary. I hope this clears it up for you. Ask me anything else, Gary Cohn. And yes, most of the energy left with Paris Cullins when Paris Cullins left the book. We got one last real hurrah with the Summer Fun Annual. Well, thank you, Gary, for writing in.
Thank you so much.
Now we know how Dan Cassidy went to the toity. And we are definitely going to have you on for an interview if you're up for it, because we have lots of stuff to talk to you about. Amethyst, Blue Devil, all the Wonder Woman run, all the stuff that you and Dan did. We'd love to have you on. So let us know. And gosh, can you believe Blue Devil is more than 25 years old?
God, the 25-year rule.
Thanks, Richard. No, we're a day late and $1 short on segues. You picked this. I like this. I did not know this existed. Take it away.
No, okay. I picked Detective Comics number 359, 19 in parens 1997. It's the first appearance of Batgirl. It's a Toys R Us special replica edition.
Wow.
Yeah, it was part of a 3-pack that Toys R Us sold that included Tech 359, Tech 38, the first Robin, and Batman 121.
Is that Mr. Freeze?
Yes, it is Mr. Freeze.
There you go.
So yeah, so this is a great way, and we feature a lot of reprints on the show because I like the ability to read books that I would normally not read because they're too darn expensive. So this is an example of that. So dates back to 1997. The 3-packs, the books in the 3-packs have the exact same cover of the original, but they just have a little Toys R Us a logo in the upper right-hand corner to kind of differentiate them. The back, of course, is also different. It's an ad for Toys R Us. But no, this is I think this is a pretty cool book. I would love to find the original 3-pack of this.
Yeah.
And keep it sealed. There are 66 of them on the census of 14 9.8. So people are grading them. But there's only one GPA sale back in 2019 of a 9.8, and that was for $99. So they're affordable if you can find them.
Wow. And that original 359 is so far out of reach now, even for low grades, that this is a nice alternative if you want to display it in the slab of your choice. If you want to wait and not have notes on it. Our underrated books of the week. Here we are. Richard, I think this is the first Harvey comic we've ever featured on this show in 2.5 years.
Harvey, yes. We've done Archie before, but not Harvey.
We have not done a Harvey book. And my underrated book this week is none other than Little Dot number 1. Huh? It's a book about a girl who's obsessed with dots. Who doesn't want to read that, Richard? No. This is important because it's the first appearance of Richie Rich. Richie Rich went on to become Harvey's most successful character, headlining more than 50 separate titles. At one point in the 1970s, Richard, there were 32 different Richie Rich titles being published at the same time.
That just boggles my mind. I can't imagine that.
This easily makes Richie Rich one of the most successful comic books ever. So what happened? Well, Harvey went out of business in 1982, and there's been a few revivals of the comic since then. They've been unsuccessful. That's despite TV shows and movies with Macaulay Culkin. The most recent, there was a Netflix Richie Rich show that I had no idea existed until I started doing research for this segment.
Wow, I had no idea either.
A 9.2 file copy of Little Dot number 1 sold in 2014 for $21,150.
Wow.
A more recent sale was for a 2.5, which sold in January of this year for $4,250. So I remember Little Dot number 1, Richie Rich, when I was coming up in the Bronze Age in the early 80s. This was a very, very desirable and hot book. People were Richie Rich collectors. And I thought, I'm going to talk about Richie Rich this week, and it's going to be really affordable now, and people will be able to get it. No,
not at $4,000 for a 2.5.
No, ma'am. Rich, did you get called Richie Rich a lot when you were growing up?
No one ever. Never.
Okay, good. I was worried about that when I picked this book. I did not want to dredge up any painful bullying memories for you.
No, I wasn't bullied. I was fairly popular.
Because you were Richie Rich. You were loaded. All right, what's your underrated book of the week?
My book is going on another reprint kind of run. It is Fantastic Four number 4, but not from Marvel Comics, from Newton Comics in 1974.
Oh, wow.
Maxwell Newton was the publisher. He was from Australia. He was a magazine publisher who got into reprinting comics. He did a number of different books, including the Fantastic Four. The reason why it's Fantastic Four, I should say that if you look at the book, it's Fantastic Four number 4. The Newton Comics version is a reprint of the American Fantastic Four #5.
Ah,
#4. They skipped for some reason Fantastic Four #2.
probably because they're not in uniform.
Oh, that's a good point. Never thought
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So they did 1, they did 3, they did 4, and then 5. So this book has a slightly different color scheme to it, but it is the color cover from Fantastic Four #5, the first appearance of Doctor Doom. It was available in the Australian market. It has it has a cents price on it. It's not a pence book, it's a cents book because they used cents in Australia. It was in black and white. It was, a lot of these foreign reprints are, and it had a centerfold poster that tends to be pulled out. Every example I've seen on eBay has the centerfold poster missing.
Was it Dr. Doom nude?
I hope not. So this was in 1974. He also did The Incredible Hulk. He did Planet of the Apes. He sold what he thought was a great number for the first issues. He sold 30,000 copies of the first reprints, and he then spec'd his sales accordingly. He thought he was going to continue to increase in sales. Unfortunately, as the issues went, the second and third issues would only do 20,000, and then within a few months, they dropped down to 6,000 to 8,000. So it ended up bankrupting the company because of the overestimated sales. And by the end of 1976, Newton Comics was out of business.
Boom, boom.
But this is cool. I like this. I love foreign editions because a lot of foreign editions have the flavor of the country that they're from, on top of the Marvel magic. And this one just, like I said, it's in black and white. But I think it's a great way of getting that Fantastic Four #5 if you're interested in reading the story. One of the nice things about it being from Australia, as opposed to, let's say, Spain or Mexico, is it's in English. You can read it if you're a poor only English reader like me. There are no books of this on the census. Not for this one. There are a couple of the #1s, and there's one of the #5, which is the issue after this, which is Fantastic Four #6 reprint with Submariner and Doctor Doom. It's interesting. It's a different cover than that they used on the Fantastic Four #6 in the U.S.
Oh wow!
But no, I'm a big fan of these foreign books. Keep an eye out for them. If you travel internationally, this is a great way of finding some really cool books. Just go out to the local comic book stores and see what they have.
It's interesting. I wonder how many copies of this still exist with a print run of 6,000 to 8,000 at this point, from what you're saying, and plus the fact that it was in Australia, so kids were probably rolling it up and swatting bugs.
Yeah, they think of the journey you would have to make to get to the States.
I know. All right. Well, that is a cool one. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods, and go to the website bronzeandmoderngods.com. And gosh, thanks all 4,000 plus of you.
Yeah. I am working for doing the show from wherever I can in the house because of our construction. So I appreciate you putting up.
Yeah, and I don't have my computer, so this is like a completely hacked episode. That's why we didn't record yesterday. So thanks for your patience, and we made it work. So thanks everyone, and we will catch you next time.
Yep, everybody stay safe.